I think this initiative is something that is very much needed in our society in terms of how the direction of our youth is going. It's one of the reasons why, for myself, I started this platform called Brave in order to try and change the narrative, especially with young women in our country. We hear the saying always that Africa is the new place to be. But are we really implementing and taking those steps to make sure that we are actually becoming that space where people need to be, where new ideas are being fostered, where new talent is being nurtured? So with Brave, we decided to inspire and empower you young individuals here. And being on this platform today, I'm supposed to speak about self-investment. I'm sure a lot of you will ask yourself, what does it mean to self-invest? Where do I even start from to invest in myself? What does that mean for me as a young individual? Because most of you, I believe, are in JHS, SHS, right? And that's where you are mostly in that space of trying to figure out what your next steps are. What do you want to do with your life? What your career is supposed to look like. And I'm here to tell you that you might not be able to figure it out now, where you are in life. And that's okay. It's very much okay not to know what you want to do. But you always have to make sure that you are grabbing the opportunities that come your way to grow yourself, to grow your intellect. You're also very much what you read, what you feed your soul. If you are someone who is always thinking or looking at negative stuff or consuming gossip, obviously your spirit, your intellect will reflect that. So making sure that you are consuming good content that is going to grow your intellect, that is going to grow you as a person, that when you're in a space, when you're interacting with people, you are able to come across as someone who is worldly, who at least has knowledge of what's going on in the world. I think we'll be able to open new doors for you. So today, what I'll just do is I'll give you three parts or three steps on how to achieve self-investment. The first one is self-analysis. What does self-analysis mean? Do you know who you are? Self-analysis is when you take a deep look at yourself. You are introspective and seeing, okay, what is my circle of influence? If you are usually hang out with friends who play football or who are interested in sports, obviously that means that the next 3, 4, 5 years you are probably going to be influenced by being in that sort of circle. It's the same way when most of the people in your circle of influence are in entertainment or in politics. You're very much a reflection of the people that you hang out with. So choosing carefully your friends, people that will mentor you, it's very important. Secondly, you need to also realize that you have to do a SWOT analysis of yourself. I don't know if many of you know what SWOT means. That's a term that we normally use in marketing. I work in a marketing agency. A friend of mine, we both run it together. And we do a lot of personal branding for clients. And that involves doing a SWOT analysis. The S stands for strength. Take a piece of paper. Write down, what are your strengths? Really sit down and just visualize yourself. How do you come across to people? What do people say about you? What do people admire about you? Those are your strengths. The W in SWOT stands for weakness. Same thing. What do people say you need to work on? That's what they refer to when they say your weakness. That weakness, is it something that you can work on? Can you better it? Or is it going to be a liability? When it's going to be a liability, what kind of steps will you take to mitigate that? Right? The O in SWOT is for opportunities. Opportunities are places or spaces that you find yourself in that you might not be comfortable with, but may open new doors for you. So grabbing that, seeing that, being able to critically think and realize that, okay, I might not be well versed in this subject, but there's an opportunity for me to grow myself. It's something that you need to look at. So make sure you always position yourself in a way that you are able to access opportunities that if you don't take, maybe someone else will take, and then later on you regret it in life. The T in SWOT is threats. What are your threats? Your threats, I would say, is mostly things that maybe you might not be able to really have influence over. But there are also threats that you have influence over. As I spoke earlier, your circle of influence. Is it a good circle of influence? Is it a negative circle of influence? As Doctor mentioned, is it someone who is going to influence you to smoke? Is it someone who is going to influence you to drink? Is it someone who is going to influence you to learn, to challenge you to better yourself? Those are the things that you need to look at when you're looking at your threats, right? Then the third actionable part is personal development. What does personal development look like? Personal development can be in the form of learning a new skill set, reading 5 minutes a chapter every day from a book. A lot of us really take that for granted. If you are someone, I bet you, if you read a chapter from a book every day, you will not be the same person you are today in 6 months. Because you'll be acquiring knowledge, and acquiring knowledge is value, is self-investment. It's something that there are steps that you take to nurture yourself, to build yourself. And that's what we are supposed to do as individuals. Never be complacent in the space that you find yourself in. Be complacent means that you're stagnant, you're not learning anything, you're not developing. And then you shouldn't then also be surprised if life passes you by, or when you see your friends moving on with their lives. Because as the saying goes, time waits for no man. And never sit there waiting for things to fall in your lap. You have to take actionable steps. Set goals. It's so very important. For instance, you can do that by putting together a vision board. I don't know if some of you know what a vision board looks like. Usually at the end of the year, for myself, I will look at all the things that I've done over the year. The good, the bad, and the neutral stuff. But then I'll say, okay, moving into, say, 2022, what do I want to achieve in 2022? What do I expect my vision board to look like? What do I expect the reflection of my future to look like? And having a vision board and looking at it, you can put it on your mirror or on your closet, your wardrobe. You wake up every day, look at it, and it's a reminder of where you want to be in the future. So a vision board is the easiest way to start the self-investment process, and making sure that every day you're reminding yourselves the steps you need to take in order to get to that vision that you have put there. The third part is setting smart goals and objectives. Smart goals is not just mean working hard. Nowadays, the society that we are in, is very technologically advanced. Working hard does not necessarily mean that you're going to reap the benefits. But being smart about the choices you make, taking critical thinking steps in order to make sure that you are making informed decisions. I think that's something that I even realized growing up, living in two societies. I'll just give a short example. I grew up here. I was born here in Ghana. I grew up here, and with 13, I moved to Germany. Up until being in Ghana, I was attending preparatory school in Tema. That's where I grew up, and the school was good. It was a private school. I mean, you got good grades and everything. But then going into a whole different society, not knowing the language, not knowing their customs, their culture, and even school, how things are taught in school, it was totally different. In Ghana, I was used to where exams, you get multiple choice questions, and then obviously you have learned, you can anticipate the kind of questions that are coming, and then you most likely be able to ace the exams. But in Germany, it was totally different. An exam would consist of maybe 1 or 2 questions. And then within 90 minutes, you're supposed to write 1,500, 2,000 word essay. That means you have to think independently. You have to use your brain. You have to know how to decipher information. And that's the only way you can really grow and develop that independent thinking. That's really necessary in your career, being able to interact with people on a very equal level. So I would urge you, if you are setting goals, set smart goals. Learn, read. Never say no to any opportunity. Because the experiences that you have now, you realize that at some point in your professional career, all those experiences will come together. Like, there's a reason to everything that happens. Us being here, there's a reason for that. I'm sure that weeks from now, I'll be sitting somewhere and then I'll be referring to this conversation that we're having now. So when you see situations as they are, even if in that moment it might be negative, know that it will turn out to be a positive experience sometime down the line, right? So I think for me, that's my